Hey guys, today we're going to be doing another shipyard review where we are reviewing the Long Haul Industries shipyard ships. These are some ships built by Germstorm. He's another incredible designer on the server. Let's get into it. The first ship we're going to be looking at is called the Belthauler. It is a medium hauler that has a really cool feature of a solar sail on the front, which is unfortunately in our game just a bunch of solar panels, but you know, it's modeled after a real solar sail that would be used to help propel the ship. It has a really big drive section on the back, very huge Kaminari drive here. Just one drive to propel this thing is all it needs because it's so powerful. It has a couple PDCs, lots of really cool cargo, and then take another look at this solar sail on the front. The way he greebled this looks really cool. You have a giant thrust section right there in the middle, as well as some suspension that he's used as kind of like bumpers. Going inside, this thing has a pretty simple interior. It's just one or two rooms, and it has just some very nice utilities, like lots of inventory scripts and things that you need, and then also a clock in case you're wondering what time it is. And it's all displayed very nicely in front of the cockpit on the roof. Next is the heavy mining transport Rochard. This is a very cool barge and skiff style mining ship. You can see up in the middle there in the front is a skiff that deploys out to actually go mine the asteroids while the barge waits for it to bring back the ore. This thing is pretty heavily armed. It has two coil guns to help fend off attackers, one on the top and one on the bottom, and then also a pretty nice PDC net to help shoot down torps. I love how many thrusters this thing has in the back here, and also how the coil guns are set up on these weird kind of like stilts here. They're very cool. Coming back to the drives, you can see we have these diagonal drives on these sides, which are very cool and pretty rare honestly to build diagonally. And then also one super heavy Kaminari drive to help propel this thing when it is full of ore. Coming up to the front, we can get a better look at the skiff. It's a very well built, very cool skiff using paneling to create this kind of like inset effect, and it attaches right up at the front and allows you to go and mine safely without having to bring your barge into the mining zone. Going inside, you have a very cool interior. It's kind of set up to let the players do whatever they want with this thing. So going inside, you have the interior kind of entryway that has the name of the ship and also some, you know, little cargo and detail greebling. Then of course through here you have the CIC, or the cockpit area, where you have the seat, and also, just like all the rest of his ships, all of these really awesome LEDs that display everything you need to know about your ship. Going down, you get to the living quarters, and these you can kind of design on your own. There's lots of space here to build whatever you want and configure it however you want. Next up is the Sparhawk Corvette. This is a light combat vehicle that has both fixed weapons and two coil guns, one on the top and one on the bottom, and a decent PDC net, as well as being not too expensive. The key with this thing is that it is very versatile. It can be used for scouting, it can get up close and personal with the fixed weapons in the front, or it can provide support with the coil guns. Has a pretty Spartan drive pack back here, not super redundant, so you don't want to be getting in any crazy fights, but like I said, this thing is supposed to be very lightweight and more of like a scouting vehicle. Going up to the front, you can see those 4 fixed Kess cannons that can really help you punch up your weight class if you can get close enough to use them. And then of course on the bottom you have a nice little gear to grab stuff. Going inside this little hidden entryway, you have a nice little kind of living quarters / entryway, and this is a UN themed grid, so the UN flag. And then going up top you have the CIC, which again has lots of information for you, as well as some maps of the ring worlds in case you were going to use this to scout. Next up is the Zakstar class destroyer. This thing is a little more heavy duty than the Sparhawk. It's got 2 Zacho railguns, as well as some grinders up at the front. This thing also has a nice little torp complement and a pretty good PDC net, as well as some really nice thrust redundancy here. With 4 very large drives, this thing is very, very fast, and then it has 4 extra small redundancy drives, just to make sure you don't become a mobility kill. Going in close here, you can kind of see the really cool greebling he's done next to the Zacho and using the RCS as greebling themselves, which is very, very smart. And then a torp launcher right there in front of the Zacho. And then going up front, once you get to the front, you can use these grinders to grind down any kills you get and steal the scrap. Going inside to another hidden entrance here down at the bottom. You have a nice little airlock, and then moving through there, you kind of have a nice split interior with some living quarters and then reactor access on both sides. Going up top takes you to the CIC again. You have nice little info panels, the name, and lots of auxiliary cockpits for anyone who might be double seating your ship. And then of course the main cockpit, which with lots of LCDs displaying information per the usual with all of Germstorm's ships. Next up is the Kashtiliash Cruiser. This thing is an absolute beast and also a very, very beautiful grid. The way he used the angled armor on the front to really give it this really cool look, and then also the way that he used the hazard striping as well as the color palette is just very, very well done. This is probably like one of my favorite grids. I love the nice little greebling up at the front there with the comms tower, and of course how he builds in all of the PDCs to not only look good but have really, really good lines of sight to everything that they might need to cover. This thing has 1 stiletto railgun up top, and there's a coil gun on the bottom, but you could replace it with another stiletto if you wanted to. And this thing is a very nice drive pack that is very redundant. You can take a lot of hits back here. And also, if you want, you can only use those auxiliary drives and keep your drive signature pretty low so no one sees you. Moving past the stiletto railgun, you have your torp launchers right here, so 6 torp launchers on top. And then a mag plate on the bottom so you can grab anyone if you want to grab any scrap or any wrecks of the ships that you destroy with this thing. Going inside this thing is a very large interior. Honestly, I got pretty lost flying around in this thing, but it is very cool. There's a lot to explore here. He managed to fit like 6 or 7 decks into this thing, which is pretty insane, and they're all very cool, but this is just kind of the entryway, and then some more deck access down below. Then of course you have the CIC, which has a shit ton of information panels up at the top, and then of course lots of auxiliary stuff and some very, very cool greebling. So that is a brief synopsis of the Long Haul Industries grids by Germstorm. There are a lot more of these if you go look in his workshop, and a lot of them have actually been to the front page and won awards. All of these workshop links are in the description. The server has been super popular lately with super high population. If you want to join us, the link is in the description.